I'm Abby Vernon. We already covered that I'm completely unqualified. I met Heather this past fall. So we are fast friends, new friends. Our life sort of intersected a few times this past year, and I thought it would be weird to include that as a highlight on my Christmas card, but it was that awesome. It was that awesome of my last 6 months. I have 3 kids. I'm a mom. I have Ellie, Finn, and Gus, EFG. I have a devastatingly handsome husband who manages to put up with me and my crazy list of personality traits, but that's a micro story for another day. And I work for Aerie, which to me is the best specialty retailer in the world. And if you don't know us, check us out, because we're pretty awesome. So I have a question for you guys, because as I was thinking about this, I just kept coming back to this of, do you ever feel like you somewhat stumbled into the life you're living? So I seriously feel like this every single day. I am not supposed to have this life. I studied acting, and now I'm a corporate retail executive. I met my husband on a blind date. Not just any blind date, but he lived across the country. Date number 2 required an airplane. I mean, it wasn't supposed to work out, and it did. We've been together for 20 years. I live in Pittsburgh, okay? If there are any natives in this room, it's a great place, but never in a million years did I think I would end up in Pittsburgh. So the point is, this is not some carefully sort of choreographed life that I thought I would have, and now here I am to say I'm living it. I definitely stumbled upon this, but it is an amazing life, and I wouldn't change really anything. So I want to share some of those stumbles I've had with all of you. So the first sort of notable character-shaping stumble I had was right before I was about to graduate from college. So I'm like 6 months out from graduating, and I have decided, I mean, just thinking about this is like cringeworthy for me. I decided that what the degree I'm about to get is not at all what I want to spend my life doing. Can anyone relate? I am about to freaking graduate with a degree in acting, and there's no way in hell I want to be an actress. So I am like, okay, now what? So I pick up the phone and I call my parents and I said, okay, I really appreciate all the support for the last, 20-some years, but I'm going to take a semester off. I know I'm supposed to graduate in 3 months, but I'm going to take a semester off and go find myself and work at Disney World. What? Disney World? I don't even like Disney that much. So anyway, I went to work at Disney. I sold Buzz Lightyear toys on Main Street, USA, if you remember that, at the Magic Kingdom. And then in a moment, life changed, and we went to war with Iraq. And Disney went on a total hiring freeze. So no jobs would be filled. If somebody quit, they weren't going to backfill that position. It was done. Tourism tanked, hiring freeze, everything stopped. And I was this overeager Buzz Lightyear. I was merchanting it up on that street. I sold the most toys. And the assistant to the head of merchandising for the company quit. And he went to HR and said, well, I need a new assistant. And they said, well, yeah, but the rule applies to you too. So sorry. And they said, but if you find an intern that wants the job, I bet we could make that work. So I networked my way, and that's sort of how I fell into merchandising. And people laugh about it, but for me, acting, I was always trying to convince you I am Mary Poppins or Eliza Doolittle. And retail, I am convincing you that that is like the must-have kimono of the season, and you cannot leave the store without it. It's really getting into your head, and that's what acting was. So thus sort of began my love story with fashion. So retail has served me well. I spent like 8 years in San Francisco with The Gap, a couple years with Land's End in Madison, Wisconsin, and now I'm with Aerie. So did anyone know Aerie before coming here today? Raise your hand if you did. Oh, yes. Okay, well, we're opening 60 stores this year, and we're coming West Coast. So for all of you out here, get ready. But Aerie is, this year, we just got ranked the fastest growing specialty retailer in the country. So our business is really exciting right now. But what really put us on the map was in 2014, we became the first specialty retailer. So we predominantly do bras, undies, swimwear, and then every category within women's apparel you can imagine. We're owned by American Eagle Outfitters, just a little background for you. So in 2014, what put us on the map is when we decided we are no longer going to retouch our models. And we're selling bras and underwear. I mean, we are zooming in, and you know what I mean. I mean, no retouching is a big deal in this space. And we said, you know what? Like, our #1 competitor was Victoria's Secret. And women, girls, were going to get their first bra at Victoria's Secret. And they had an image of, and if that's for you, that's great, no judgment. But that couldn't be the only option. A place that sold angels, you know, it was about an angel, a persona. We wanted to give women and girls choices. So we said, we're not going to retouch. And this was bold. This was courageous. I mean, so many rooms, so many times I sat in a room with a table like this. Do we do this? Don't we? How is this going to show up? What about when we sell thongs? Like, we're zooming in. How's that going to go? And I can tell you that the response was tremendous. Our business exploded. Wow. Exploded. Our customers, Wall Street, the press went crazy. This was 2014. I mean, today, luckily, we live in a world of body positivity and, you know, Dove campaigns and encouragement. But in 2014, if you can think back 6 years ago, no one was doing this. Wow. This was a big deal. Today in our fitting rooms, we have our new stores have a curtain that covers the mirror, and they say, before you ask yourself, how do I look, ask yourself, how do I feel? Because it's about, you know, if I feel good, I'm going to look great because I'm going to have confidence and I'm going to feel great about putting myself out there. So we are this brand now where it's not about just selling product. We sell great product, don't get me wrong. But we're on a mission. We have this mission to change the way people see marketing, the way women see themselves, the way women see each other. And that, to me, I don't have to go to work every day. I get to go to work every day. And I know I'm so lucky to live in this space. So that's sort of the career side of me. From a personal standpoint, I mean, that guy, the blind date, I mean, we made it work. He was a pro golfer. He's retired now, but we had a great 20s, you know, traveled the world. He played on the Asian PGA and the South American PGA. It was a fun way to spend our time. And then, you know, moved to Pittsburgh. Aerie is amazing. Do you ever have those years where life is like too good to be true almost? Like things are just singing. Everything is just sort of harmoniously working together. Career was on fire. We had a house. My mom survived breast cancer. I mean, it was like rocking. And we decided, well, what better time to start a family? So I was 30. We got pregnant pretty quickly. Typical pregnancy for the most part. A few little, you know, bumps and bruises along the way, but that's, you know, there's a child growing in your body. That's to be expected, right? So I had Ellie, who, there was another Ellie. One of our speakers earlier had a daughter, Ellie. Anyway, so I had my Ellie. She was supposed to be a Christmas baby, and she was a Thanksgiving baby. I love Christmas, so I thought she just wants to join the fun and be here early. We took her home from the hospital. I'll never forget this. We made chocolate chip cookies the day I brought her home from the hospital. I was like, that is going to be the welcome home party for this girl. I had the best memories of making cookies with my mom. And the next morning, she was 3 days old, and the hospital called and said, we actually want you and your husband to come back here. If you guys can make it work at some point today, we'd love for you to come back. We want to talk to you about something. So my husband, you know, okay, it's really bizarre, sure. So we went back to the hospital, and they said, you know, we noticed some things that were a little different about Ellie. She was really swollen. She was early, but we saw a few markers, and we ran some tests, and it turns out that Ellie has Down syndrome. And I'm gonna try to get through this. For me, I mean, I was on a high of my life. I was on this, like, life could not have been better. And this was, I can't describe the pain that I felt in this moment. Wow. I felt, when people say I've been punched in the gut or whatever, I mean, that is so real. I couldn't breathe. I fell to the floor. And I just, this isn't the, what? And have you ever wanted to like go back in time? All I wanted, I'm looking at this infant in this baby carrier, and all I wanted to do was get her back in my belly, start over, and have a different ending. Wow. But the reality was that wasn't going to happen. I didn't know anyone with a disability. I had never been around anyone with Down syndrome. I didn't know, I thought my world just came crumbling down. I remember driving home from the hospital with my husband, and I couldn't even look at him. I was looking out the passenger window, driving over a bridge in Pittsburgh, and I said to him, do you think we'll ever laugh again? I just remember I'll never feel joy enough to ever laugh again. Can you know that feeling? I'm sure you know that feeling. You know, I could tell you, you know how I said in the beginning, this is like a life I stumbled upon? To me, this wasn't a stumble. This was a plunge. A complete plunge into a world that I did not know how I was going to come back to. So I could tell you a million stories about how wrong I was that day. as I stand here before you 85 months later. I was wrong. I was completely wrong. I can assure you that Ellie has been my greatest struggle. She has taught me, however, how to be brave in ways that I never could have fathomed. She has taught me to listen with my ears, but to actually listen more with my eyes and with my heart. And I don't know if you have ever tried that, to just listen to someone with your eyes. It's so powerful what you can read and see in that human being. She taught me that. It's so powerful, it's so true, and it's so real. Ellie reminds me daily how to laugh and that it's okay to cry. She'd be cheering me on right now. But the best part of all of this is that when I see Ellie stumble, I know that she's going to stumble right where she's supposed to be, because that's what I did. So I'm grateful for my life. It's not choreographed in any way, shape, or form. I am figuring it out. Every day is like a curveball like you wouldn't believe, but I can say it's rad and it's awesome, and I'm so blessed. So to all of you, my new friends, I was hoping we would move tables, not that I don't love my group here, but I want to meet all of you. I guess I want to leave you with this question, and that is, are you happy with where you've stumbled? I know I sure as hell am. And all I need to do is just keep on stumbling. So, thank you.